let's face it, sewing machine servicing can be expensive. And if your machine's not broken, you're probably thinking, just like I used to, is it really worth it? What's the point? Well, in this video, let's take my 20-year-old sewing machine. Let's look at this before servicing and after servicing. It's not broken either, but let's see what a difference, if any difference, it makes so we can really compare and see if a professional servicing is really worth it. It is delightful to see you here, my sewing friends. Welcome. If you are actually just brand new, my name's Evelyn Wood, and here on this channel we talk everything about garment sewing so you can get really, really great garments that you just dream of in your mind. So if you haven't already, do check the subscribe button and double check that you are subscribed, because lots of, in particular at the moment, we are on a sewing machine type theme. And today obviously is getting a sewing machine service really worth it? So we are going to run through a few categories and have a really good look at my machine here before servicing, different things that are wrong with it, the looks, how it sounds, how it sews, all that sort of thing. Get it serviced and then have a look at it afterwards. So this machine here is my Brother NX600. And now I bought this back in 2003. Yeah, it is nearly 20 years old. I know that makes me feel really old, but it is not broken. It sews just fine. There are a few things that that could be tweaked, and we'll get to that in a minute, but it sews just fine. There's nothing broken about it or anything like that really, and we're going to have it serviced. This machine does hold a little bit dear to my heart because I bought this when I was in fashion college. This is only the second sewing machine that I ever owned. The first one was my birthday present when I was 14 years old and had that for a number of years, my little Janome. I bought this one myself in fashion college at the end, and this saw me through starting my sewing, clothes for my own business at the markets, and then further on down to starting my own vintage reproduction fashion label. This is what I got started with, and sewing couture client garments, vintage restorations, not to mention my own wardrobe, of course, and now even teaches, thousands of students at Vintage Sewing School how to sew. So this machine is very dear to me, and although it is not currently my main workhorse anymore, I use my Juki Industrial for most things. So this one really only gets used for, say, buttonholes, zigzag stitching, that sort of thing. So it has been a little bit neglected, and it is very long overdue for a proper service. Now I do regular maintenance myself, and we've got videos on sewing machine maintenance, and I think one coming up on things that you can do to maintain your machine. I do all these all the time, but it does need a servicing. It's been a very long time. Too long. Okay, let's get started. Let's have a look before. Let's have a look at the looks. So I didn't actually pre-clean this or anything. This is as it was sitting ready to go into the shop. So looks, overall, it's in pretty good condition. It's, as you would expect for a 20-year-old machine. There are little marks here and there. Mostly my fingernail polish comes off. They're like red stripes. A little bit of dust in all the nooks and crannies, and if, when you really look, you can see the dust in all the parts. It's been a long time since I've taken off this. This is pretty clean, but all in all, it looks in pretty good condition. And I would like to think that signifies that the operator, the owner, has taken care of it too. Let's look at some broken parts or things that I already know that need fixing. Well, my automatic needle threader here, this broke probably a decade ago, and I just never got it fixed. I remember taking it in one time to have it serviced, and I thought they'd repair it too, and I think at the time he said it was going to be like $100 or something like that, and at that time I was just like, that's too much. And just threading the needle manually by myself is just not a really big deal, so I just never had it repaired. But I think I'd like to actually get that repaired and have that needle threader work again. My bobbin winder is so painfully slow, it is. Yeah, so the bobbin winder motor, I imagine, has obviously just, it's showing its age and it's going very, very slow. So it takes a long time to wind anything. My knee press on this one. So one of the selling points for me was this knee press. So if you've never seen one of these before, this little gadget sits in here. And what you do is you put your knee here and you actually slide your knee and it raises the presser foot at the same time. So yeah, so it's a little bit squeaky and it tends to kind of not stick in very well. Like I think something's just kind of a bit dodgy with the knee press and how it sits in. So that's definitely something that, yeah. Okay, let's see how this actually sews. Now, I can tell you a few things already. In my opinion, already knowing it's a little bit, well, clunky. So the stitches are fine and it all works, you know, sort of fine, but it sounds to me clunky. Let's have a look. So, as I said, stitches are fine. Just kind of sounds like the bobbin's a little loose and it just kind of rattles a little bit and, you know, and sewing it probably doesn't like thick fabric too much, like going over really thick parts. Maybe we'll do a little experiment with that. All right, so we went over some really thick stuff here. And it does manage, but it really requires me to kind of push and really maneuver it in, and it definitely didn't sew straight because it was sort of wobbling around. And the only other thing with sewing is that it doesn't like reversing on a zigzag stitch. Now I can't say whether that's just been the case all the time or whether it's just now, I can't remember, but that's probably the only other little thing that I've noticed about it sewing. But other than that, it sews really just fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it, right? So, okay, this time to pack up this little baby and it's time to take her to the sewing machine mechanic and we'll see what happens. Oh, let me get that one out. And we'll see what a difference a sewing machine service can actually make. It's several weeks later, but I have my little darling back from the sewing machine repair shop and I am actually really excited to actually sew with it and see what a difference it has made, if any. We're going to test it all. We're going to go through the same categories and have a look at how it performs and looks now versus earlier. All right. First up, looks. Well, it's been cleaned up really nice. So it was very nice. There's like, it's been all rubbed down, even all the little nooks and crannies, all the bits of fluff and dust and everything. Little fingernail red stripy marks, there's a couple of those still, but otherwise it looks really nice, which is really nice, isn't it? It's kind of like when you take your car to a car mechanic and they wash it for you at the same time. Oh, you know you're going back there, right? Okay, next is the broken parts. Let's have a look. I remember the needle threader was one of them. Okay, we did it in the shop and it worked. Let's see, I'm a little bit sideways. Hopefully it still works. It's been a very long time since I've even used this because it was broken for so long. Apparently it was just the alignment that was out. It didn't need a new part at all. It was just a little bit of alignment. Let's see how it goes. All right, maybe should have got that thread cutter sharpened. It worked. Oh, wait, I pulled the wrong side. There we go. Okay, wow. That's really nice to have that option. As I said, for me, threading it is never such a big issue, but you know, maybe it will be as you know time goes on and eyesight maybe isn't what it used to be. All right, let me plug this in because we've got a few more things to test. Okay, so one of the other things was the super slow bobbin winder. he mentioned that there didn't seem to be anything sort of wrong with it, how to play with it, you know, just tweaked it all a little bit, but so that might just be the same. It might just be me being impatient, maybe. I wouldn't put that past it. So either way, that's not a big deal. I'll do that after, since we're all threaded, I think, and ready to go. What else was there? Oh, the knee press. So this was a little bit wobbly. So let's give this a try. So he did actually say that he's tightened the screw. He was very technical in explaining where and what it did. And so it should be better, but this actual piece here has worn off. And so there's play in it still. So it's never going to be entirely, so it still wobbles, as you can see. So yeah. It doesn't squeak anymore, which is really nice. Be nice for all my videos, that's for sure. And what about some things that maybe weren't good that I didn't know about? Well, his analysis of my machine was that it was very clean and tidy and well kept, so good for me. And there wasn't really anything super wrong with it, so to say. He just gave everything a little tidy up, a clean, all, you know, fluff, oil, just tighten all the bits and pieces. He did say that there was, again, some technical terms about the mechanics of it all. Something back here in the back here that was kind of loose that he sort of had to readjust and tighten. I think that's why the bobbin was a little bit rattly. Sounds like it anyway, we'll soon see. And just a general clean and tidy up. So there wasn't anything really other than that. One thing that was quite funny to note is when he pulled this out and pulled the shuttle out to look at it as we're there, you know, beforehand, he's like, what's this? I'm like, what? Says on the plastic part of the shuttle is a scratch mark from the needle. It's like, naughty, naughty. He's just joking, of course. And so that was rather funny. So you can't hide anything from a well-trained mechanic who knows instantly. Even a tiny little scratch on the plastic part was obviously someday I did something naughty and it came down and hit everything weird, funny, you know, of course it's going to happen. So, but I found that quite amusing anyway. So don't lie to your sewing machine mechanic, because I think they'll know. They'll see through it. Okay, I'm just going to leave this as is and let's see how it sews. I'll just trust that it's threaded all correctly, and let's have a see. It sounds nice. It sounds really smooth. The stitches look really good. Yeah. I mean, this is his little test part, so let's test the zigzag stitch. Ooh. That's interesting. When I reversed doing the zigzag, even fairly fast, it actually went over the exact same stitch, like it's just double. I don't think it did that before, that's for sure. It was always like a mess, like the reverse zig wouldn't be over the top of the other one. That is really nice. So I think it's definitely had a little bit of an alignment adjustment, has made quite a difference there, definitely on that zigzag stitch. Straight stitch again. Yeah, everything feels pretty good. Yeah, yeah, the stitches look good. Let's do one more. But let's use the knee press. So actually, one thing I'm noticing, I had manually with my hand lifted the foot up, and so it's in the up position. When I used the knee press just now to lift it up and back down, it went all the way down. Before, it didn't do that. It would still stay in that, like it would go up but come back to that upright position. This is actually like engaged it to come, like to use this entirely and come back down. That is really handy. Wow, I didn't even know that it was doing that it should have been better. There you go. Okay, well, what is my conclusion? I think it definitely has made a difference. It doesn't sound clunky or twisted at all. Obviously that was a very short use, but still in that limited use, that kind of rattling, that clunkiness is definitely gone. The zigzag stitch in the reversing, and obviously the alignment and adjustment of stitches has greatly improved, which is wonderful, and it's all nice, clean and tidy, and I kind of know it's in good working order and will last me a long time. So is it worth it? Well, for me, yes, definitely it was worth it. Everything feels better, the knee press is better, the stitches are better and more aligned. I know it's been like worked out, and I know nothing inside is about to break and ruin. So yes, I would word of caution with this, the servicing and everything. Obviously the cost involved is that, well, it's worth it. Maybe, well, for me it is, but, and looking for yourself, if you have a machine that is possibly designed to be maintained and serviced, yes. For example, your, the lower quality, like the lower end, like the $99 machines are generally not made in a way that are designed to be serviced. So even Cole was mentioning this, we're talking about it there. So they're just not designed, like you can't get into them to actually do any repairs to them, to tighten it. Like you can't get into all the spaces, and you absolutely can't get parts for them. They don't exist. And so there comes a point, maybe if you're looking at yourself, whether it's worth it or not might depend on the type of machine that you have. So anything like my vintage Bernina, like the older ones, they are designed to be all, they still get parts for them all and be able to be serviced and maintained. That is how they're designed. So that would be the only cause of concern that I think that maybe is to consider, is the servicing worth it or not, would depend on the machine and what your budget is and what you're hoping to get out of your machine. I want this one to last me another, I think this is 19 years old, so by servicing it, keeping it clean myself, and then the odd service every few years is definitely worth it for me. I'm greatly improved and cannot wait to keep sewing some more on this and testing it. So let me know in the comments down below, have you had a sewing machine service and noticed remarkable differences like this? Do you think they're a magician like I do? I would love to hear your experience down below as well. And until next time, sewing friends, happy sewing. Bye.